Hey guys, so here's an unexpected bonus episode for you. So I'm sure most of you are aware, Monster Mania was postponed because there's a minor national emergency, global pandemic.
International.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some issues happening. So Monster Mania was postponed, which is the right call. And because of that, we aren't there for obvious reasons. So we've got a few things that we wanted to address. But let's start with the big thing, the thing that's happening right in the immediate now as this episode is coming out. Since we're not at Monster Mania, we're going to be offering a ton of shit shipping free. So no shipping cost. We're going to pretend that you were able to come up and buy it at the table at the convention. That's all of our shirts. Is that including like the video game boxes that you made, Scott?
So I did not actually print them yet, but if you pre-order them on our Etsy, which is etsy.com/shop/horror movie night, you will get them free shipping when I print them next month.
And I will be holding off until Monday to actually start like packaging up everything to send, because I'd rather just show up at the post office with a giant pile of stuff than like try to figure out how to get in and out of there Saturday and Monday. So I'd rather have one headache, I guess.
Oh no, and I don't think anybody's going to be upset about it if you're like, yeah, I'm just going to wait and I'm going to ship on Monday.
Yeah.
Also, all of my vinyl is up in the stories on our Instagram, which is HMN Podcast. You can find that in the description of every episode. So I'm selling a bunch of vinyl. I always do, but everything that I have available is up on the Instagram stories. And if you want more than one thing, just make me an offer and it'll be free shipping, and just, take it off my hands.
And because that is the Instagram story, keep in mind that you will want to jump on that pretty much as soon as you're listening to this episode, because those motherfuckers fade in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So act fast. Although I'm sure Scott will post a second round like midday tomorrow, so that lasts until Sunday. But that's the first thing we want to address. The second thing we want to address is that I know that I'm stuck working from home for at least the next 2 weeks, if not longer. Scott, are you in that same boat officially?
Yeah. My entire company is on remote work, including all of like the CSRs, which is absolutely wild because I've been working from home 1 day a week for the last like 4 years, but now I'm working 5 days a week from home.
So I don't work from home at all, and today was a mini nightmare. So, I mean, I also didn't. They finally let us take our monitors and docking stations home. That was like a big, like, I don't know if this is going to be allowed all day yesterday, but they finally gave the thumbs up at the end of the day. But I didn't have time to like situate that, so I was working what I used to use 3 screens. I was using a single tablet, and without a mouse or a like keyboard. Essentially, I was just using whatever like the tablet keyboard and mouse pad had, which sucks. So
that sounds terrible. That sounds absolutely awful.
Every time I clicked on anything, it just would like shrink a bunch of shit and hide everything, and like, that's happening while I'm on a live phone call with an angry person whose pricing on their website isn't correct. So it was great. So hopefully I can get that figured out before Monday. But working from home sucks for the most part, and a lot of people don't have school for the next couple weeks. A lot of people have a lot of things that they are not going to do, which is their normal Monday through Friday life. And we wanted to try to keep your attitudes up and keep people positive. So we are going to instill kind of almost a throwback to the origins of Horror Movie Night, but we're going to have a weekday movie club. So what's going to happen is I will scour the internet, see what's available on different streaming sites or what's on YouTube, and each morning I will say this is the movie, and I will say how to watch it. And then in that thread, it'll be like an official just discussion board for us to all decide to watch that movie and talk about it. So I think that could be fun for everybody. Also, spoiler alert, so you can prepare, as long as it is readily available, I plan to make whatever episode drops on Thursday the Friday movie. So So, if you see something download, and then it's like, oh, that movie's available on Shudder, you can expect that we're going to be watching that on Friday. So just, a little spoiler alert if you want to watch it Thursday night, maybe, and then be ready to discuss first thing in the morning when I post it. There's your little tip. But also to kind of let people who just listen to the show but aren't on the Facebook group know, like, hey, if there was ever a time you were, unsure if you wanted to join the Facebook group, this is the time. Link is in the description. So, like, just click that link. And please write something in the prompts, the question prompts.
Just so we know you're not a fucking robot.
Because, dear God, do we have a lot of robots. And not even the fun ones that it tell us to have a nice day.
Yeah, and I'm actually pretty excited about the weekday movie thing because I need an excuse to watch horror movies. I mean, like, beyond what we do for the regular show, because I'm like a little ahead of the curve right now, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I gonna watch right now? So I would love that, and also it's great because I don't have to be the one finding the links for once, so I'm pretty happy about this.
I figured it was all uphill for Scott on this one. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else we definitely wanted to shout out?
Yeah, my new EP.
Oh, let's talk about the Lady Killers.
Yeah, so every Monster Mania for the last 3 years, I guess,
Yeah.
I have been releasing a new EP of metal covers of horror themes at Monster Mania. And obviously that is not happening this year because we are not at Monster Mania. But I additionally, did not foresee coronavirus being an issue back in fucking December when I started transcribing things and working on this EP. So I just dropped it today, Friday the 13th. And it is free on Bandcamp, bandcamp.com/consolecrash. Just grab it, enjoy it. I'm not charging any money for it because I never charge money for my cover stuff. So, please enjoy, listen, tell me what you think about it. And it was really fun to do. It's always really fun to do them, but I don't know if I will be doing the series anymore since we're not going to be doing, we may be doing some other early season con that would make it worthwhile for me to focus on having that be part of my yearly output as Console Crash, but it may actually just change so that I start releasing things at Pop Rock and Horror, which is, I think that's officially our next, that's realistically our next convention, because I think by the time the end of May rolls around, we will be in a place where the world isn't in self-quarantine.
Well, and that's the thing, and I think that's the thing that I want to say is we are still dedicated to trying to be at whatever cons we can be, and if I could offer, like, any piece of advice. Scott has a lot of great helpful prevention advices. Here's my mental health advice. Right now, I was in the middle of an email chain with Jonathan and Derek from Geekscape who were trying to figure out if we should put money down on the hotel for San Diego Comic-Con. And my perspective is July is far too away in the future for us to speculate what will or will not happen. So be prepared for things to be canceled, but don't mentally just decide that 2020 is going to be a wash and you're going to be stuck inside your house until next January. Have a little bit of optimism.
Yeah. Dude, have you been out in public today?
I went to Starbucks and got a coffee, but it's beautiful outside, which is a nice plus.
Yeah, isn't it? It's also so weird because it's like the sun is shining, it's warm, at least in Ohio, for Ohio on March 13th, and I went to where the fuck did I go? Oh, I just went to the Whole Foods store that was down the street, like our natural food store, and I, as happens at a grocery store, there's somebody in front of you or they have a cart, and you're like, oh, excuse me. Fucking straight faces. It looks like the plague is coming through. I don't think that people quite I've done a lot more reading than I assume John Q. Public has because I need to not freak the fuck out. So going to the grocery store and people,
all the things. You were blowing up our little Beats Creeps group with all types of tips, which was good, and I'm very excited to know that I can't contract this from kissing because
you can contract it from kissing if you kiss.
Yeah, that's my thing. So that's like one thing that's all.
Do you hear Megan in the background going, "Oh, man"?
That's the one thing I don't have to worry about.
You're not going to contract it by watching porn. That's what's.
No.
You're safe.
Did you see that Pornhub is offering free premium access to people in Italy while they deal with the coronavirus?
Yeah, dude. I mean, Pornhub is truly the hero the world needs.
But yeah, and here's the thing. I do want to address this a little bit because this is like one of those things where I'm like the king of, man, I should say something, but I don't want to start a fight, and I don't feel like having to say anything beyond this one statement, and I know people are going to respond, so I'm just saying nothing, is basically my stance on anything polarizing. But I will say this much. Yes, is it possible that this seems to you like an overreaction? It is totally fine for you to feel that way. That being said, if your reasoning that this is an overreaction is that, 2-3 months down the line, no one's really died from this, you're welcome because of the overreaction. Like, it is better, in my mind, when it comes to matters of health and well-being, it is better to be overly cautious than optimistically stupid. So
I absolutely agree. And I mean, just as far as this episode or this bonus episode will be stale within, 3 days, right? So I just want anyone listening to know that, like, Italy has it probably the worst of anybody that we can actually, tell, because China is obviously, not telling the world about how bad it might be. But Italy is being pretty transparent, and they said that they had about 200 new deaths between yesterday and today from coronavirus. So this is no joke. It's not fake news. And, like, and I'm not trying to say that to scare anybody. I'm saying that this is a great opportunity for us to be proactive. And so it's not, I don't think that anybody's overreacting in the U.S. by closing schools and having people work remote if possible and limiting social contact. Like, social distancing is, I read a stat that said that it was going to reduce the chances of spreading it by 75%. So it's really, really important that everybody just keep cool. You don't need to buy a year's worth of TP. You just need some dry fucking beans, some frozen foods, and some entertainment. So just chill, read a book, listen to a podcast, watch some TV, work on a garden, stuff like that.
Spoiler about how our brains, or at least how my brain works. When you said you just need some dry beans bouncing off the TP thing, I was like, what type of euphemism is that for not wiping?
That's me being vegan. Sorry.
Yeah. So the flip side of that, again, like, let's be honest, the one thing that will always save us are the memes.
Yeah.
So, like, keep the memes going, because some of the coronavirus memes are pretty fucking funny. Just don't be a dick about it. I guess that's the end statement of this little bonus episode. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to think that this is an overreaction. It's okay to be calm. It's okay to think this is stupid. It's okay to make memes about it. Just don't be a dick about it, is what I would say.
That's basically just being on the internet in 2020. Sadly, we are in the minority, but that's the way that we see it.
All right. Well, and, I'll just address this elephant in the room as well. If you listen to the Pumpkinhead 2 episode, sorry about the omnidirectional mic fuck up on Brian and I's part, and sorry for next week in advance. But after that, it's fixed. So. Trying to think, is there any other laundry that needs to be aired?
No, the only laundry I want to say about the Pumpkinhead episode is that Mario listened to it and he texted me and said, "Is the sound off?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I talked to Matt, it's fine." And he was like, regardless, Matt throwing his shoe at Pumpkinhead's head is the funniest fucking thing Matt's ever said. So
I'm really bummed, because listening to that episode, like, you can hear it. I don't think it's like obnoxious to the point that you need to shut it off. But man, there is some fun. That is like one of the funniest episodes we've put out in a while.
Yeah, you and Brian are just killing it. I'm the hype man of that episode, which is really fun because usually you're the hype man. So I really appreciate when I get to do that job for you guys.
Well, we're about to record an episode without Brian. Sorry, guys. I know the B. Kelly fans out there are devastated. And I've got like 2.5 pages worth of notes. So I'm so
Thank goodness, because I have nothing.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're recording this at like 6 p.m. and I'm imagining it's going to be live in like less than 2 hours. So, because I'm going to do very little to zero editing. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for understanding. Also, you know what? I do want to throw one more thing out there. Don't be a dick to the people who are having to make the difficult decision of shutting down a thing. The amount of comments that I saw even on the Monster Mania post was like, well, what am I supposed to do about my hotel? I say blah, blah, blah. Like,
you're going to get your money back.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
It sucks. It's inconvenient. And there was something that someone said on one of the wrestling podcasts, and I think that it's really important to reiterate this, was they were talking about wrestling, and they said, you know, with WrestleMania possibly being canceled, with all these shows being canceled, and especially with these indie shows getting canceled, like, to a lot of indie wrestlers who were going to fly out to Tampa Bay in the beginning of April, that paycheck for that weekend was going to cover a month's worth of mortgage for them, most likely.
Yeah.
Same thing with the people who are doing conventions. Scott and I are lucky because we have other jobs that finance this. But like people like our dudes at Studio Design, people like the guys at 8-Bit Fusion, a lot of these places that have helped us with shirts and have been there for us and have been like neighbors to us, this is how they pay for their lives. So it sucks that the convention doesn't work.
Buy stuff. Like you buy online this weekend.
I was going to say, the money that you get back for your refund on that ticket, go and buy something from some of the vendors online that you would have paid for, because they are going to be hurting. And I mean, I'll address this too. We're going to finally do it in theaters now on A Quiet Place 2. Shit ain't happening. It's not coming out next week like we thought it was going to. So like, just be prepared for like your friends, that anybody that you're friends with, actors, you know, like Broadway is shutting down for 2 weeks. Those dudes aren't getting paid to not perform and do their craft. There's a lot of people who are being affected by this that are having a lot more of an inconvenience than a hotel that you have to cancel at the last minute, or like a plane ticket that you have to cancel.
And you'll get that money back. It's really, you know, and if we are not upset, like you and me, if we are not upset about not doing Mania, I don't think anybody else should be. Like any attendee should be upset, because we have at least $1,000 probably dropped on that weekend that I mean, and that doesn't seem like a lot to. And
that's with the shirts too. We printed brand new. Like,
it's $2,000 then, you know, like
there was a lot that got invested in that.
Yeah. And it's fine. We're going to be fine. It's just keep that in mind. Just be compassionate to people, because I mean, people in food service, people that are going to be delivering your pizza, if you are self-quarantining for 2 weeks, things like that, just be nice. Like, the world just needs nice people.
Yeah, it's important. And like, I mean, I'm gonna give you a little bit of spoiler alert about Monster Mania. Scott might be the only person who knows this, but like, here's the thing: before Monster Mania canceled, minutes before Monster Mania canceled, we made the decision to pull out of Monster Mania because of a bunch of health issues going on with my sister, and we won't get into that. But I you know, Scott basically convinced me that it would be a bad idea. And as far as I'm concerned, us pulling out, that was the straw that broke the camel's back to Monster Mania. They said, if Horror Movie Night's not here, then no one's coming anyway. So let's just cancel the whole event. So I guess I apologize. He ruined Monster Mania. I take full blame. But you know what? It was we made the decision for all of us, and it was a good decision. So,
you know, one last thing. I agree. Matt is such a shit
name this
person.
episode One Last Thing. You said it a lot.
For the last 15 minutes, you said one last thing. One last thing I will say. Let's just pimp out the Patreon. If you want, what's the tier to get all the free stuff, all the free episodes for a month?
So this is going to sound real weird that I'm not going to pimp the highest level tier, but I'm telling you, the $5 tier a month gets you everything you could truly want as a fan. You get a bonus episode every single week, and many of them are like this. It's me, Scott, and Brian just shooting the shit about a random topic, not as serious as coronavirus. Spoiler alert, the one we're about to record today is about movie posters. A lot more upbeat than coronavirus.
Yes.
But then we do a bonus episode every single month. We do reviews of Goosebumps episodes, Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes. We're doing the Fear Street pitch, but I mean, I don't know about Scott, but I'm feeling like we're starting to hit a point where we're almost out of books to look at for Fear Street.
Oh, dude, I got at least a year's worth ready for you guys.
Okay. Well, then never mind. Fear Street pitch will at least be going until 2021. And we're always going to keep our minds open for other things that we can put in there. And I mean, if you want to go the extra mile, if you want to donate the $10, I edit these episodes so much because we record them so far in advance that you get a week's episode, or you get every episode a week before the rest of the world. So
I don't
you'll
even get to hear it that fast.
No. So, I mean, the $5 goes a long way, but we really try to make it worth your money. And then, you're on the newsletter. And if you don't care about the bonus stuff and just want to know what movies we're going to be talking about that month, then the newsletter is only $1. So,
and you get a free song every single month from me.
You do. And man, I've heard some of the stuff on Lady Killers, so I'm sure that those are going to be included soon. And those songs are pretty tight.
Thanks, buddy.
And also go buy Lady Killer, or go download Lady Killer.
You don't have to pay for it.
But that's about it. So thank you guys. Love you guys. If you made it this far, we really appreciate you because you're clearly a super fan. And just be good. To quote a movie.
Yeah, do it.
To quote a movie that we've reviewed in the past, be excellent to each other.
I'm so glad you did that, so I didn't have to.
All right, bye guys.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.